I'm sorry about my hair. I need to take out these braids, but unfortunately, I can't seem to take it out myself. I don't know why or how. I can't seem to get the hang of it. But I cannot afford to go back and take it out from my stylist. So I don't know what to do. anyways, hi. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Ayo and I talk about books, K dramas, and everything in between. So if you enjoy that, please stay a while. Also, I saw that we hit 60 subscribers. Oh my goodness. Yay! Thank you so much. Oh, in K drama land, we say Kamsamida. Thank you so much for subscribing. And if you really enjoyed this video, please share, please like, and subscribe. Thank you. Okay, so what are we talking about today? First, shout out to my mom. This video idea came from my mom, so I have to give her a shout out for thinking of this and for helping me come up with this idea. So, I was reading last month, I think I told you, my book club and I were reading Jane Austen's bookshelf, Women Writers Who Shaped the Legend. That's the title. I might put it up here so you can see it. And it was a very good read, yeah. I enjoyed it. But it got me thinking about the women who came before Chimamanda. So a lot of people know Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie from Nigeria. She's a writer, she's a novelist, she's a feminist, and everybody loves her books, yes. But she's not the only female writer from Nigeria. And there are so many women that came before her that we read before her. But for some reason, most people outside of Nigeria, I mean the Western world, are familiar with the Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka, and they're familiar with Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. But we also have women who were writing during those times. And I've decided that today I'm going to talk to you about some of those women, some of those books that I read when I was a teenager, when I was a kid. And so we are going to talk about African female writers. This is not an exhaustive list. This is just some of them that I remember reading. Now I'm going to start with Florence Wapa's Efuru. Florence Wapa's Efuru is actually considered the first novel written by an African woman, I think, but definitely the first written by a Nigerian woman. And it's considered a feminist novel. It chronicles the life of a woman who is trying to have a child and cannot. And back then, in traditional African society, being barren is a cost, really. You do not want to be barren. And it comes with a cost to you, even though she was a successful trader, she was successful in a commercial life and a career, but this causes a lot of strain in her marital life. And if you read the book, you find out how that goes. So it's a very, very good book. It's considered a classic, a very feminist novel chronicling the lives of African women, because before that we are only familiar with stories about men. Okay, so after that, I would also like to talk about Buchi Tata's The Joys of Motherhood. The Joys of Motherhood is also a classic. It chronicles the life of a mother. So, in traditional African society, the marriage, yes, but it's also a means to an end. Most times, women get their joy and everything from their kids, from their children, because most of the time the men have other wives because we come from a polygamous society. So most times the men could take different wives, and it was legal and they could do that. And so you find that most of these causes thrive in the family and the family is not happy. But most women place their joy in their kids, thinking, okay, if my kids are successful, then they'll take care of me. And Uchi chronicles this in The Joys of Motherhood. I have to tell you, I would not spoil it for you. The first time I picked up this book, I thought, oh, what a great title. and then I read it, and ooh, it is harrowing, it is truthful, and a very, very honest depiction of what it's like to be a woman in a traditional African society. It's a classic for a reason, and I think you should read it. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about is The Night Ari Died by Adora Ulasi. This is also a classic and is the first crime novel written by a woman, I think, in Nigeria. If not, yeah, I think so. If not the first in the whole of Africa, but definitely the first in Nigeria. I read this when I was maybe 11. I loved this book. It was absolutely delightful. It was very funny. I'm not sure if you can find these books, but I think that if you look for them in the libraries, I think you should be able to find digital copies of these books. But because they're still studied today, I think. I'm not completely sure. But anyways, we are talking about yeah. So the night Ari died. So there was a party and then Ari died. He was surrounded by his brother and is it his brother? No, I think his friend and another woman. And then the detective has to find out who killed him. Naturally, they think it's the woman, but is it the woman? Read it and find out. I love this book. It was so funny, such a delightful read. It was such a funny book because it was. I think it was one of the first detective books I read, and I was like, I want to read murder mysteries. I love them. I really, really love the book, and I love how we wrapped up. How Adora wrapped up this book. So good, a classic for a reason, and I think you should read it. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about is a children's book. So this is Mabel Shagun's My Father's Daughter. Mabel Shagun is every time I think about her, I just think about being a child, being in school. I remember this book getting passed around the class. All of us were reading it because it was so fun. You know, that joy of reading a book that chronicles little girls' lives. Yeah, I felt seen. It's not just about a boy, also girls. So we can have our own adventures. So this little girl who's it chronicles the life of this little girl whose father is a clergyman and she tells little stories from her father revolves around our relationship with her father. She's a daddy's girl through and through, just like me. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this book and it's a children's classic. Yeah, and you should read it. Now, the next one is one that I always, always talk about. If you are new to this channel, you probably haven't heard me talk about it, but it's Zainab Zakali's The Descendants. This book has gone out of print, and I am single handedly trying to make sure that we bring it back. I love Zainab Zakali, but this is my favorite of hers even though I think The Virtuous Woman and Stillborn are the more popular ones. But this one is the one that I adore. I adored this book when I read it. I think it's a classic and I think we need to go back to it. It chronicles the life of this matriarch in northern Nigeria. So Zainab Akali is from the north, the northern part of Nigeria, and she tells stories about women from that part of Nigeria. And in this story, there's a family, and this woman she's lost her husband, but she's the head of the family. She has I think 6 sons or 7 sons, and they all passed away one after the other. And she's gone through so much after losing her husband, losing her kids, but she still has one of her kids, a man, and he is the head of the family, but because she's his mother, she's the matriarch, and she rules this family. So, oh my goodness. You know, I it was one of the first depictions I had of a very strong African woman who rules with their iron fist. Okay. Her son, oh my goodness, he knows not to cross her. I loved the depiction of Majoramili in this story. I think it's one of the best depictions. The story is told through our granddaughter's eyes. So our granddaughter as a child out of wedlock, which is considered shameful back then, and then she's trying to find a I think she's trying to find a husband in this book. Really, don't quote me in all of this because I read this ages ago, ages ago. But I just remembered that Majuramili was such a compelling character that even now, about 12, 13 years later, I still remember her vividly. and I love the love story. There's a love story in here. Oh, so sweet. I really, really, really loved this book. The Descendants was just, it was everything to me. Unfortunately, my copy got water. Yeah, I think it got wet and I couldn't, and I lost some parts of it. Anyways, I do not have it. It's in Nigeria. That copy, it's in Nigeria. It's not complete. It's it broke my heart. And I've been trying to find another copy without fail. So if you have a copy, please get in touch with me or let's get away. Let's petition these people to bring it back. We need to put it back in print. It's such a good book and it tells such a great story of the Northern African society. One that most people, I think most people are familiar with the western side of the country, the Yoruba culture or the Igbo culture in Things Fall Apart, for instance. But yeah, this story so good and it's a classic and I think you need to read it. Yeah. And then finally I'm going to talk about one that is not from a Nigerian woman. This is written by a Senegalese woman, and oh my goodness, this is also a classic. It's Mariam Abbas Solongeleta. This book, I love this book. It's so short, and you could get through it in a day. It's very short. It chronicles the life of a woman whose husband, an educated woman, they are both educated. They fell in love. They had kids. They raised their children. I think they are two or three. They raise their kids, all of that, and then maybe 40 years later, in their middle age now, her husband decides to take a second wife, but he decides to take his daughter's best friend as his wife. Imagine the chaos. Imagine the chaos. And so this is the main character writing a letter to her best friend telling her what happened. It's harrowing, it's funny, it has so much art. I truly, truly love this book. I'm about to read. I plan to read it again this year. Hopefully, I get to it. But it's a short book. I think I should be able to. I really, really love it. I think you should read it. So those are the books I have for you today. I have so many others. I know I read so many others if I can remember them. But if you are interested, I'll definitely look forward to doing more and maybe making it a series. Yeah, if you're interested, I'd love to tell you about books by African writers, especially African women writers, because I am a woman and I love talking about women. I will always love talking about women. So my mic stopped working, which is a disaster, but okay. Thank goodness I almost finished. Yeah, I think I already finished. Yeah, I think I already finished. But anyways, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. I have really loved hanging out with you. And I hope that if you enjoyed this video, you subscribe, turn on post notifications. My mom just told me about that. I don't know how that works, but please do. Please do. And like and share if you enjoy it and if you want others to know more about African women. Yeah, that would be all for today. What am I doing next? I'm actually trying to read the Journal of Welfare All. I will tell you in my next video about that. This is my Folio Society copy. It's really gorgeous. I'd love to show you more, but we'll keep that for another video. Yeah. I was also going to tell you that the secret emoji for today is a pen emoji. Yeah, travel pen emoji. Thank you so much. And yeah, so that will be all from me today. Thank you. Kamsahamnida. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.